I am Jennifer Albertson, and I have been a member of Tuckahoe since I was about 5 years old. So I have literally grown up in this church along with my mom and my dad and my brother and my kids. I know some of you are probably thinking, whew, I haven't seen you in a while. And you are not wrong. I am one of those members who admittedly has drifted away, not so much in spirit, but in physical presence over the past several years. I could blame COVID, and that's a big part of it. But quite honestly, life has just made it easier to worship from afar. And I have found that the longer you allow yourself to do that, the harder it is to return to the levels of involvement you used to have. When Carson Ryan called and asked if I would consider being a part of the Stewardship campaign team, I was completely caught off guard. And if you're like me, sometimes when you're completely caught off guard, you agree to do something and then think to yourself after the fact, what did I just agree to do? If I'm being completely honest, which I feel like I probably should be speaking to my church family, I have not pledged or given regularly over the past several years. I had all kinds of excuses I came up with in my head. I'm a social worker and I give every day. Why do I need to give through my church too? It's not in my budget to give. Kids are expensive and life is expensive. I can't afford to just give money away to the church. And possibly the most selfish one of all is, what do I get in return for my giving? I know, and I was asked to be on the Stewardship campaign team. Well, they say that God works in mysterious ways, and while I don't know if the intended consequence of asking me to serve on this team was to have me do a whole lot of soul searching or not, that is what happened. I thought about this church and what it means to me and my family, and really just kind of reevaluated the way that I viewed giving. Many of you know that my mom, who was a nearly 45-year member of Tuckahoe, passed away in February. Our family had all kind of withdrawn from physically being here over the past few years, but the cards that we received and the visits and the way that people showed up for us literally brought me to tears. People embraced us as if we had never physically stepped away. My daughter, who is in her second year at the University of Alabama, wrote her college application essays about the power of connection and focused on her experiences with Caritas here at Tuckahoe, serving homeless children and families, which she did from the time she was about 6 months old, perched on my hip. My kids grew up in Sunday school and vacation Bible school and youth group and confirmation, and it's a hugely formative part of their lives. And it's one that they reference often with stories and people and lessons learned. They learned about giving and about being a part of a community that loves unconditionally and takes care of one another. When I see one of you out in the grocery store or out running errands, we stop and we chat and you ask about my kids and my family and you know us and you care. I realize in these moments that this is God, this is our church, and this is why giving is important. So over these past several months, I've revisited my excuses. Sure, I give outside of church. And yes, I'm the mom of nearly grown children who somehow keep getting more expensive with every passing year. I can't afford to just give to the church. Yes, in retrospect, I am a little ashamed of that one. As if my line of thought was, thank you, God, for this gift of salvation and this church family, but sorry, you're just not in my budget this year. I think in probably what's becoming more of a confessional than a testimonial, I will admit that sometimes I looked at giving to the church after I factored in Target runs or a dinner out or, dare I say, Starbucks. And I've really taken a good hard look at my priorities over these past several months. And then perhaps the worst question of all, or the worst excuse of all that I would use, was what do I get in return for my giving? Well, you, my church family, have answered that one loud and clear, time and time again. I get unconditional love, welcoming, and acceptance. I get the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of those less fortunate. I get the blessing of my kids having grown up with this awesome foundation of faith. Those things are unconditional. They are full of grace. And I think that is what has gotten me back to viewing giving as something that comes from a place of gratitude and joy and not so much from obligation or duty. So if any of what I have said resonates with you, I ask you to see this stewardship season as an opportunity to reflect and reassess. It wasn't any sort of a grand epiphany for me, but instead, that invitation to be a part of the stewardship team led me to evaluate my faith and my commitment to the work of this church in a new way. God clearly had a bigger purpose for my accidentally answering that call from Carson Ryan those many months ago.